I hope people are actually able to hear this. Just a little bit of mood music whilst viewers gather their thoughts. Yes. Okay. So it's Thursday night, and it is August 13th, 2020, and this is Student Loan Justice live stream. We try to do it every evening, and if for no other reason, just to let you know that we're here and that we are continuing to do whatever it is we do to bring some sanity and some fairness to what has turned out to be the most predatory and corrupt lending system in history. I will add one request. I'm using some more updated, newer equipment tonight. I don't know if it's making my broadcast any better or worse, but I don't get immediate feedback while I'm doing a live stream. So if anyone who's listening live would be kind enough to throw a couple comments on the board here, just to give me an idea if the sound is clear enough or loud enough, or if the picture is bright enough and light enough, because, you know, this is not a professional operation. I don't think it would be hard for me to convince anybody of that. We're not pretending to be a professional operation. We're a grassroots operation. I'm a guy with a computer and some stuff. But what I do have is an overwhelming passion to fight back after being like just everyone else here, just absolutely fucked without ever seeing it coming until it was too late to stop it. Like standing in front of a freight train and not even knowing you're on the train tracks and trusting that there are people there looking out for you, which unfortunately turns out not to be the case. So, again, if people that are listening to the live stream could be kind enough to let me know if they're having any problems with my broadcast in terms of the sound and or the picture, that would be very much appreciated. I think, as I said earlier, I don't have any way of getting immediate feedback until after I'm done recording this or done doing this. So look, I don't have a lot to say tonight that you haven't already heard. But that doesn't mean that what I have to say isn't important, because quite frankly, the most important, or one of the most important concepts that I can ever talk about in doing the kind of work that we do is that it requires monotonous persistence and repetition. And the more we grow our numbers and the more we grow people who are being persistent and repetitious, the louder we become, the harder we become to ignore. And, getting this problem solved would be somewhat like trying to tip over a refrigerator by yourself. You don't normally, unless you're, a extraordinarily strong individual, you don't ordinarily just push it over in one push. You got to get it rocking. If any of you live in the colder climates like I do in the winter, then you also know that if you get your car stuck in the snow or the mud, you gotta get it rocking. It takes persistence, it takes repetition, and it takes numbers. It takes more than one person usually doing the same thing, working together. And I know this is all probably way oversimplified, but I just want to make sure that people know, because there's a lot of folks out here that we've been keying in on our petition for a while now, and we think it's really important. There are a group of people out here who have been absolute warriors with regard to daily, taking time daily to post the link to our petition in various places where people will see it. And we want to get more people doing it. We want to encourage the people who have been doing it because they've had success to keep doing it. Go back to the same places that you were before, because I'll tell you what, you've hit some grand slams in a few places, and usually if you've been somewhere and there's gold, you don't get it all the first one or two times through. Go back to wherever you've been posting, because we've had some phenomenal results. A short time ago, at one point, we had something like 250,000 new signatures in just like a couple of days. Now, we don't have any way of tracking where people were posting the link to our petition at that time. But if you are folks that are out there that are doing the posting, don't be afraid, in almost all cases, going back to repost every few days or weekly. Say it's on Facebook as an example, on various groups. As you know, the posts are time sensitive. They scroll down, and they eventually go. Most people don't go that deep looking at posts, so it's okay to repost. And unless or until an administrator or moderator or somebody of that group asks you, hopefully politely, to back off, then we would respect their wishes. But I find the quite opposite to be the truth most of the time. Groups that require an administrator's approval for a post have been incredibly gracious about granting those posts to us, and I know why. Because there's hardly a group of any size on Facebook, no matter what their particular purpose was, that isn't loaded with people with student loan debt who are drowning. And unlike those of you who are here, not everyone, a lot of people out there have still not really figured out the reality of their situation, how big of a boat they are on, and how many people are on that boat with them. A lot of people out there who are struggling and having and suffering silently and solemnly with this issue, like all of us did before finding out, hey, wait a minute, if you come across a group like ours, or a lot of the information that we disseminate as much as we can throughout the internet, and suddenly realize, hey, wait a minute, this isn't because I was a bad borrower. This was designed into the system. I borrowed money in a system that rewards failure. Now, when I say failure, I'm simply referring to the reality that the companies that service student loan debt make far more money for many different reasons and in many different ways on loans that struggle or default than they do on loans that simply pay as expected and on time. That's pretty messed up. That's a very dangerous thing. That's the incentive is in poor service and predatory service, because that's where the real profit is and has been. And here's the best part. Over a course of 30 some odd years, probably a little more than that actually, the United States legislature systemically agreed with high-paid lobbyists that it would be a great idea to relieve the lenders of any risk whatsoever, to relieve the servicing agents of any accountability whatsoever. You can't make this up. This is like something out of a science fiction movie. Like, student loans have become like the creature from the dark lagoon. It's not even supposed to exist. And most people, when you first tell them about it, will never believe you until the creature from the dark lagoon comes up and eats their garage or something, or their Toyota. Now, this is a time-sensitive thing. We've doubled down, tripled down, and quadrupled down, and on using this petition and what it is standing for as our current initiative. And there were a lot of factors that have brought us to that point. The impending economic stress that is around the corner, unfortunately, for a lot of us with regard to the pandemic that, has driven it, I'm not sure has even fully hit. I know that student loans have been given a brief reprieve. But I don't know what's going to happen to millions of people out there when that reprieve is rescinded and they're expected to return to making their normal payments and they don't have work. And tell you, there's no real and true, I know that if you talk to there's a lot of people in the industry and so on you could talk to, and they'll say, oh, we have all kinds of protections in there for you. You can do deferment, or you can do forbearance, or you can blah, blah, blah. You can spread the loan out further and pay way more money for it than you ever would have imagined. So what do you mean you're in trouble? Well, that's kind of what we've come down to. There's no empathy. There's no sympathy. And no one is going to change, fix, or do this work for us. There are people out there whose jobs it is. They get paid. They get paid to advocate for people in our situation. Unfortunately, they suck at what they do. Or they're really just kind of disinterested, or they've just sort of become sucked up into this corrupt, phony, predatory system. We need people here in this group really stepping up. And here comes Alan Collins, so, try not to use any swear words. So we really need people to continue stepping up, and we need more people to start stepping up. We're at 560,000 signatures. Alan will tell you, and it sounds crazy sometimes when he says it, but it's not when you realize what the numbers are. We should be able to push this thing up to 10 million. What does that get for us? What does that do for you? Well, that gives us more leverage when we're talking to media, when we're talking to legislators, their staff, other policymakers. When we can show them that we are capable of collecting that kind of support from other student borrowers, our voices are going to be much more closely listened to and taken seriously. And it's something we do well. If you Google student loan justice or Alan Collins and look at the trail of media that we have done, from 60 Minutes to other major TV, print, and computer media, it's astonishing. And we need to keep doing that because we don't have the money to go toe-to-toe with anybody that we're opposing. We do have the numbers of people if we can tap into our cohorts and bring more people on board, and you've got to do it. You have to do it. Either accept this situation for what it is, the way it is, and walk away and give up your financial future, or start doing the work. Many hands make light work, and if we had the thrust of just 1/10 or 1/20th of all of the people whose legs are caught in this trap, we would be a force to be reckoned with, the likes of some of the most formidable organizations in this country. That's how many people we have that have been pulled into this. So tonight I really am going to be briefer than usual, which is something I threaten to do all the time. I'm assuming that with this new microphone, etc., that I'm using, that my broadcast is coming through clear. I haven't gotten any feedback from comments otherwise, so I'm hoping that moving forward I'll be able to continue doing these live streams without them getting all screwed up. I think there was prior to this, I think there were more issues with my equipment than I really realized. And so, folks, please share that daylights out of the link to this. No, even if you think I've shared it to every conceivable place it can be shared to, do it again. This is what this requires. That's the nature of the beast. Nothing is ever one and done. How many times I've spoken to certain legislators, for example, and had dead air. But I didn't stop. I continued to make contact. I continued to pursue. And sometimes that has annoyed the hell out of people. but it's gotten their attention. It puts us on the radar. We need to know them to know that there is a cohesive, growing force in opposition to what they have done to us, and that we are not going to go away or give up easily. So please, if you haven't been active, sharing the link to the petition is a really good place to start. It doesn't require much exposure, and it's a simple task of 15, 20 minutes a day. I suggest to people to try to find 5 or 10 places to post it each week, and use your imagination. Don't be afraid to possibly step on some toes, but don't be overly obnoxious either. If a administrator of a group or somebody says, "Hey, we don't want this here," move on. It's okay. But don't assume that they won't post it, because most of them do. I say this all the time, and I'll probably keep on saying it. If you went into a crowd of 100 people and threw a rock, there's a greater than a 20% chance that you would hit somebody who was caught in the student loan trap. Yeah. So you're not on the fringe. This isn't like we're a bunch of fringe idiots who bought a few lots of swampland in Florida. There's millions of us, 50 million minimum, with their name on so-called promissory notes that really were worthless compared to what we thought that they were. So that's it for me tonight, and I hope that enough people will continue to watch these live streams and stay updated and stay current on what we're trying to do. And obviously, I'm always out here, pushing for more people to get involved, more people to get in the game, more people to get off the bench. So again, I'm Ed McKinley from Massachusetts, and it is August 13th, 2020, 7:38 p.m. in Eastern Time. And I'd like to thank everyone that was here tonight to check this out. And I hope you will continue to tune in on our live streams, because really it's the place that you're going to get the most education, information, and inspiration. So everyone have a great night, and thank you.